What's going on, guys? This is Chandler Smith, and in today's video I'm going to show you how I picked up this $1.3 million property with all of this land for a new development that there's already plans for only $850,000. So with all of that being said, let's jump into it. I've been investing in real estate for the last 9+ years. I currently own over 180 units of residential real estate and some storage unit complexes. However, this deal is something special. Now, if you look, it's on this 4-unit apartment complex, and this property was listed at $1.3 million. And I actually saw this property on the MLS, and it really sparked my interest because they had the 4 units that were cash flowing extremely well, but they also had all of this land over here, all the way over to that fence, and approved plans to put an additional 19 units. They were going to put 4 units right here. They were gonna make the drive here with a bunch of parking here and here and more parking over here. And then they had the plans for the additional 15 units all over in this area. And you can't really see the back of the property. All of this is owned by them. So even back all the way to that fence and that back corner. So in order to make it come together, we're gonna have to take this tree and that tree down and all of these trees down. But the reason it was so interesting to me is at $1.3 million to be able to get the land and the four-plex with how well it was cash flowing was actually a pretty good deal as it was. In this video, I'm gonna share with you the step-by-step process I went through to be able to land this deal. The only thing I ask you to do is remember to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the little bell, and let's jump into it. After kind of watching it on the MLS, I was like, man, that might be a good deal, but I'm not sure I wanna take on a construction project. And you know, it's just kind of out of my wheelhouse. And so I was gonna send out the mailers with Ryan and just see what happens, because this was one of a couple properties on the MLS that I wasn't really interested in. Now, in that time, this property went pending. They got it under contract, and I had sent out my mailers, and I was kind of working on locking up a couple other deals. However, I got a phone call from the owner of this property that had found my mailer, and he said, hey, we see that you're interested in buying. We're in a really weird situation because we thought we had this property sold. We have another property where we lose a ton of money because we made it so that all of our earnest money went hard. We were really hoping to sell this property because we had all of our cash locked up in it and move it over to this other property. And now we literally have 3 days to close on this property to give us time so that we have the cash to buy another property. So they were really in a bind, and I will tell you, there is nothing better than a phone call from an extremely motivated seller. So I said, hey, I'll be right over to the property. Let's meet up. I know this is urgent. I wanna go and walk through the units and we'll see where we can be. So I rolled up, and it's funny, when I rolled up, there was a car parked right here with a bunch of guys. They looked like they really had their crap together. Sometimes the 31-year-old kid, I roll up by myself, I'm like, these guys are probably gonna bid me out, or if they don't want it, maybe it's not as good of a deal as I thought. And so I talked to the guy, and he's like, hey, they're super interested, but you know, they aren't in a place to do it. So now he's had someone else to add under contract at $1.3 million. These other people were here right before me, and I was kind of somewhat intimidated, and he was kind of trying to use them to push it through. And so I just didn't think a whole lot of it. I went and walked through the units. Everything looked super clean. I was happy with the units. I looked at the plans, and I thought, you know, heck, maybe if they came down to like $950,000, $1 million bucks. But I called him, I said, hey, I could totally do it, but honestly, it's just too big of a project for me, and I don't want to pay. I think he was asking like 1.1 or 1.2 is all he was willing to come down to, just because obviously just had it under contract and it's worth that and then some. So I kind of checked it off my list, and I said, hey, you know, if the price was different, maybe, but I'm just not wanting to do it right now. And I'd built myself up as a buyer. I said I could come up with the cash and make it happen. But I kind of assumed the other people were gonna jump on it because it was a pretty good deal, and I'm sure they had more construction background than I did. So another day goes by, and he calls me back, and he's like, look, I'm just gonna be honest with you. We're desperate. We've gotta find a way to get this to go through. And you know, no one else is gonna be able to come up with the money right now that's interested, or you know, that is in a place where they wanna try and take something on that quick and rush through the due diligence. And so I threw out just a super low ball number where I thought it would be a no-brainer. And I was like, hey, at $900,000, I'll do the deal. And he's like, okay, let's do it. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I came down, I did as much due diligence as I could. I did a quick inspection on the property. We had gone through and we were about to sign the contract. And I don't know, I was just kind of worried about taking on so much. I knew it was a good deal. As a matter of fact, I knew it was a great deal, but I didn't want to lock up that much cash. I wanted to figure out financing. And so there's just a lot of things going through my head. And so I called him back and I was like, look, I'm right there, but honestly, it's just too fast. Like I just don't feel comfortable with it. And so he said, all right, what if we agree to build the 4 additional units, because they're a building company and they're actually a really good building company as I looked into them. And they said, we'll build the additional 4 extra units. And one of the excuses I had used is I needed to place money this year for tax purposes. And he said, all right, we'll do the construction on the 4 additional units for you. We'll do it for $700,000 or less. They showed me the finishes they already had planned out for the project. And they said, if we don't finish those before the end of the year, we'll drop their property down to $850,000. So I'm looking at the numbers, I'm looking at the finishes, I'm looking at the property. And in my head, I'm like, hey, he doesn't think he's gonna go over $700,000 on the price. He's willing to give me an additional $50,000 if they don't finish it before the end of the year. So I would be picking up this property either at $850,000, which would make sense with just the four-plex on it, not even the other properties. Like cash flow wise, it would make sense with just the four-plex. And best case scenario, I get another 4 units before the end of the year. Worst case scenario, I own the land for it. And even if I want to sit on it, it makes sense because it cash flows. Another really cool thing about this property is it's really close to the college, BYU Idaho here in Rexburg. And so every one of these units is rented by the room to students. And it's a really funky layout because 3 of the units are actually 3 bedroom, 3 bathroom, so that each tenant can have their own bathroom. And so they're going for an absolute premium, way more than just a regular 3 bedroom would. And that's why they're cash flowing just incredibly well. And it's another reason that I am just so pumped about this property. Now, I would be lying if I didn't feel like the deal was a little too good to be true, but I'd done my due diligence on this property. I know the numbers on just the property, regardless of the land, regardless of the construction, regardless of any of that. And so I was like, you know what, let's do it. So we sent it, the appraisal came back way more. I'm refinancing this week. And so I'll be able to pull all that money out with just 25% down. The appraisal came in above where we needed it to, obviously. And so the loan is gonna work out perfectly. And the thing that's interesting is it looks like there's no way at this point they're going to be able to get the build in time. I haven't completely checked it off, but I'm either gonna get another brand new fourplex right here before the end of the year at an incredible price, or I'm gonna get another $50,000 off this property that's cash flowing. And then honestly, I'll probably sit on it until I feel like the market is just right to take on the building process. So I'm gonna keep you guys posted throughout the next couple weeks on which direction it goes. But he told me if they can't get everything ready to roll with their subs where they're 100% sure they're gonna finish before the end of the year, then I'm just gonna end up with another 50K off the property. And the way that I had it written up is I got the 50K off the purchase price when I bought it. I just have to pay the additional 50K if they don't come through and have a fourplex built at the price we agreed on. And so, I don't know, I feel like I absolutely crushed it on this deal. And I have to say, one of the biggest reasons that I found this deal, or I guess the only reason, it was obviously on the MLS, but the realtor was cut out, it was taken off the MLS, and I landed this deal purely because of Ballpoint Marketing and their system. And the way that they have it set up now is if you reach out to them, not only will they get your mailers for exactly the kind of property you're looking for, but they can field the calls, they can sift through, they can find the most motivated sellers, and then they put you in contact with them. And in the last month, I have found 4 fourplexes, this one with land, the other 3 just fourplexes, and the numbers on all of them are absolutely incredible. I was able to negotiate with my bank and get incredible rates and terms on these just before rates spiked. And so I am super pumped. And what I would tell you is right now is an incredible time to find motivated sellers because everyone knows interest rates are going up. And even without that, there are always motivated sellers for different reasons. And that's why I am a huge believer in using Ballpoint Marketing and sending out mailers in your area and kind of narrowing in on exactly what you're looking for and getting those mailers out. And I promise you're gonna find some incredible deals. So if that's something you guys wanna use as well, just stay out of my market. But I put the link below and you can get 10% off by using my link. And I highly suggest it, especially right now, while there's a lot of craziness in the world. I promise you, there are some incredibly motivated sellers out there. And so best of luck. Last thing, if you're saying, Chandler, some of this went over my head, or I don't feel confident enough to pull the trigger on deals like this, that's why I created my real estate investing course, and you can pick that up below as well. And guys, I am so excited about this course. We're gonna have monthly calls with me. We have a Discord, and it has 74 different videos, a ton of checklists, PDFs, everything you need to know to go from start to finish. And the other cool thing is that Ryan in Ballpoint Marketing actually did some of the sections of that course to show you exactly how to capitalize with these mailers. And so I am just so excited about it, and so excited about working with Ryan, and I promise you'll be excited about working with him too. So check out both links below. And guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you remember to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks guys, have a great day.